You have 3 myths that are going to make us successful.
These are 3 facts that people don't understand.
So you're not making any money. So it's justified to say, hey, look, like, am I going to get this back? Like,
the change that happens in their life is what keeps us still going at it and keep enjoying what we're doing, because it's not the easiest job.
Having that whole database and expertise to rely upon, I think, really separates this firm.
But here, that's all we do. And Gordon's figured out a way to do that, and it's unbelievable.
Get Gordon and get it done.
Well, good morning.
good morning.
Morning, everybody.
I don't like any of you 3.
That's all right. We're at the Garage Studios, though, in
That's
Baton
right.
Rouge, Louisiana.
You're live here with John and the Monbroes.
Yep.
That's John.
John's the good-looking one.
That's right. We had to bring him along.
John, I like your boots.
Appreciate that.
Where'd you get those?
Came from Mr. McKernan.
Oh, all right.
Nice.
Great present.
He must like him.
Genuine ostrich.
You got the ostrich? I went with the pecan cayman.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, they're legit.
Uh-huh.
All right. What are we doing today?
Well, we're down here for an attorney meeting. We drove last night, and we had a good meal at Waffle House, thankfully. And we got up early this morning because Emily's mean.
Emily did make you get up early.
Yeah.
We told her you don't come to the office till about 10 anyway, and so to make you have to come in at 7:30, that's just outrageous.
Exactly.
She'd have been more mad if you'd have showed up in your Waffle House sweatshirt.
I meant to bring it. I forgot it.
I begged him to bring the Waffle House
It
hoodie.
won't happen again next time.
You're going to end up losing your NIL if you don't start putting it out there more.
Yeah, there's a lot of things I could lose.
John, this is what I deal with every day.
That's that.
Every day.
Brian, you could come over. We could train you in the Monroe way.
I don't think I want to be trained that way.
Oh, come on.
It's a good thought.
Well,
All
look,
right,
we need to
what do we
talk
got?
about something productive. I guess we can talk about something that we probably all have had, and that would be a positive client success story. So whether big or small, the happiest of client, one of the hardest maybe cases you've had to work. What was something that y'all can remember that was a good positive experience client-wise?
John, you want to go first?
Sure. Yeah. One of the cases that I worked on went on for many years. It was a great result at trial. It was over $1 million. Family was very happy. The defendants on this case decided that was too much money. So they took an appeal, and the Court of Appeal decided to reduce it by $1 million. They said, you know what, this is all you deserve. You don't get this $1 million. I was brought on to handle the post-trial work, which culminated with the Louisiana Supreme Court. So filed a writ was granted, we was assigned for briefing, and we had to argue that this money that this jury felt that this family deserved for all the pain that they had endured for years and that was still continuing to persist was fair and adequate compensation. And don't get me wrong, no amount of money is going to make any type of trauma go away, but it is the only thing in our judicial system that exists to compensate somebody. So the Supreme Court ended up siding with us and reversed the appellate court, and it gave back that $1 million to that family. And that was probably the coolest experience when that opinion was issued, seeing the family's reaction, all of that. It reinforced that it makes this practice so worthwhile.
What a roller coaster of emotions.
Oh,
getting it
yeah.
and not having it and then getting it back and knowing.
Yes.
That's cool, man.
A fight to the end for sure.
Who's next? Dion?
What was the question?
We were talking about a memorable client experience.
Memorable client experience.
Something that sticks out in your mind about a client that you were able to help.
Do you not have too many of those?
I have a bunch of them. I don't know how you narrow it down to just a few. All clients are different. They're all fun, and they all, some come from good backgrounds, some come from not so good backgrounds. One of the funniest ones I had was a guy that was homeless. He gets run over. He doesn't have a phone number. So what he does is he's in the hospital for several days. Got to find insurance. Got to figure out liability. But you know how it goes. You go through that. So anyway, when we finally settled his case, the guy had a $50,000 policy. They tendered it. We work on getting the liens reduced, blah, blah, blah. We go through the rigmarole. So finally the guy comes by one day, and I'm like, okay, here's what you're getting. I need to come back, and blah, blah, blah. And so when he got done, his sister lived not too far from Monroe, South Monroe, and they bought somewhere to live. And I'm like, cool. The guy still calls me today. This guy still calls me, and it's been, I don't know, 20 years.
Yep.
And I still get a call from that guy about every couple of years. And sometimes he'll send a client, or sometimes he just calls. But it's changed his life. And every now and then you get one of those, and it makes you remember why we do this, why we do it. It's not always the big cases.
Right.
Sometimes it's the little cases that turn a guy. They're going down a road, and then everybody's had them that whether they're having, and everybody's had a family member with drug issues, etc. And when you can turn that person around and get them going a different direction or a better direction, you've done a good thing. Money's money. Big deal.
We were talking about that on the way down, Dion. We were talking about how the size of the case sometimes doesn't really bring the most satisfaction, but it's the client who's most appreciative, right? Whether it's the smaller size case or the larger verdict.
And the change in their life.
The change that happens in their life is what keeps us still going at it and keep enjoying what we're doing, because it's not the easiest job to have. I'm sure there's other attorney positions out there that may not bring as much stress sometimes that we deal with. But I think, like we've all said so far, the client success stories are the ones that end up kind of changing their lives or being the most appreciative, no matter how big or small.
I think, excuse me, I think mine too was, it luckily was a bigger case. But the reason it became so special, she's been my favorite client. I'm gonna call her Miss H. She had 2 adult daughters that were seniors in high school or juniors going into their senior year when the wreck happened. And she got plowed into from behind. I mean, like, this Tahoe or this 4Runner was in the back seat of her Tahoe.
Oh.
She had shoulder surgery, she had neck surgery, she had knee surgery, she'd been recommended for back surgery. In her mid-50s, had been a teacher for 30 years, was like on the brink of retirement. And she had these 2 daughters that were like all-American softball players. And so they both got scholarships to leave North Louisiana and go play elsewhere. And she couldn't travel to watch them play.
Oh.
So the car rides were too hard. So she, like, their freshman year of college when they were both playing, she could barely make any of the games. And it was tough on her. And so, fast forward, the case is, getting a year old, 2 years old, into the 3rd year, and her husband is diagnosed with a type of cancer that's, not very common, but fightable, right? So they're trying to figure out, they've had, good lives, they've saved well, but they have money, but now they're having to spend money and go travel all over the place for him to get the treatment he's looking for. And it just so happened that, we were able to get this thing settled and like you said earlier, there's only one way to compensate somebody after the fact and put a little bit of financial security in their life. And one of the things she told me after we settled and dispersed was, now I'm gonna be able to get my husband all the treatment that he needs. And so I was like, I probably won't have another case that hits home like that one did.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I guess one that I had, it kind of goes with this similar theme that we've all been talking about. It was a younger guy out of an area from where I'm from. He was 21, good young man, hardworking, 18, graduated high school and did the true country boy thing and started working, and had worked for several years and kind of worked his way up to kind of like a little foreman in the job that he was in. And sure enough, one day headed to work, a very large truck just ran a red light and smokes him. And he has to be airlifted. He has a very bad leg injury. And they were concerned that he may not, ever walk again. And so it took some time, but we helped him get to some really good therapists because, of course, in our younger years, working in the industry that he was in, he didn't have health insurance. And so we had to do some finagling and things like that because he ended up with some very large bills. And so we put him in the hands of some really good doctors. And so we were able to resolve his case and for a great sum of money for him and his family. And the first thing he did was he bought his mom a trailer with some land and then bought himself a trailer with some land right next to her, and moved his family kind of back into this little compound that he had. And, and then he was able to eventually go back to work. And that's exactly what he did. As soon as he could get released, even after the settlement that he had, he went back to work. And people like that just are few and far between. So I would say that was probably one of my favorites as well.
Love to hear that.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about something a little bit different. Let's talk about legal myths in the personal injury or in the attorney world. But I think since we're all obviously personal injury attorneys, maybe we can talk about some legal myths about injury law.
Maybe another myth in the legal world is people don't need uninsured motorist coverage. You know,
Yep.
I think everybody sees that across the board. And I have some buddies, some real close friends that are agents, specifically I'm not going to mention their insurance company, but
Don't do that.
But I talk to them and they're like, well, why should I tell my clients they need, everybody comes in and they want to leave with the cheapest bill possible, right? Hey, if I'm paying this every month, I don't want to pay and I can cut that $10 off. Well, yeah. Well, now you don't have, and I don't know what the actual statistics are anymore, but at one time it was like 60% of the people driving in the state with no insurance, right? And then out of the 40% that are driving with insurance, 75% of them have $15,000 policies.
Yep.
So like 1 out of every 10 cars you pass actually has more than a minimum policy, right?
And half don't have insurance.
Yeah, and half don't have any, right? And so, and they're like, well, we've got medical pay for our bill pay. Okay, well that'll pay some of your medicals, $5,000, but if you don't have, and then they have the economic only UM, that doesn't help either because that's only going to pay some meds and some lost wages. Okay, if you get hit by somebody that doesn't have insurance or has 15 and they break your leg, and you can't work for 3 or 4 months,
that should be illegal.
you get $15,000. That's it.
UEO should be banned.
So, I think everybody, the agents should be learning what all underinsured motorists or uninsured motorist coverage helps with and statistically explain to their I don't know what they call them, their customers or their clients,
Well, they have
it's risky to not have it.
Yeah, they do have the waiver, but I mean, a lot of people that come in, if they've never been in a wreck,
They don't go through it enough. They don't
Correct.
explain
They don't
it enough.
Sign an
understand.
initial here, it's going to save you $10. You don't need that. If you get hit, you'll make the claim against their insurance.
Yeah.
Right.
Wrong.
You got to have full UM insurance. Am I right?
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Right.
And there's no such thing as just full coverage.
Yeah. Oh man.
There's no such
you
thing
have
as full
UM. Oh
coverage.
yeah, I've got full coverage.
I got full coverage.
That's probably the
not
biggest legal
included.
myth.
What you got, John?
I think another one I think of is that people reflexively think big truck wreck, big money. And that's not the case at all. Any type of case value is predicated on your injuries, your medical treatment, things like that. And so just because, someone happens to hit you and it's a big truck doesn't mean that you're automatically entitled to some large settlement. It means that they have a lot of insurance so that if you do have substantial injuries that continue to linger, you can treat, and that there's going to be coverage, financial compensation for you, but it's not this type of reflexive payout.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
I agree with that 100%.
Yep.
That's a good point. All right, let's talk about maybe some career lessons. What's one thing that you have learned since becoming a Gordon McKernan Injury Attorney?
How to do personal injury law. I mean,
How to do it correctly.
That's right. That's right. And much to yours and Dion's credit, and John, I don't know if you know this, but I came from the DA's office. So I was a prosecutor for 8 or 9 years, 10 years if you include some interns, externships. So I knew the criminal world and I knew trials, but I didn't know a whole lot about personal injury. And these two gentlemen over here have kind of taken me in and given me the ins and outs. So I usually go ask Ryan and Dion both, like, hey, how do I handle this situation? Dion's going to say this way over here, and Ryan's going to say this way over here. So I go like somewhere in the middle. I feel like that's a good little tug of war for me. So that's how I've gotten where I'm at now.
That's actually correct sometimes.
Absolutely. It's good to get a couple different perspectives. There's more than one way.
There's
Skin that
always
cat.
that's the fun thing about what we do. One attorney's going to do it this way. One attorney's going to do it. You're not wrong, and then one attorney does it this way. He's not wrong, and you do things differently.
Find you a happy medium.
And
That's right.
and look, that's not just in personal injury, y'all. That's domestic, divorce, criminal, everything. Attorneys do things differently. There's a lot of things. There's not a right way to do it. Maybe property is a little different. I don't know.
Which one of these decisions is going to make Gordon and Misty less mad at me? Right? That's the direction I go.
That's the balancing act.
How do I not violate the rules?
Yeah.
And where are the rules?
They're in the
binder.
The binder.
We have a binder.
Misty's
we
red
do.
tape binder that
Yes.
we built and have on the countertop.
We do
I'm
actually
wondering.
have a binder. They need to put that on. I need to.
I think
remove
she was
that.
very appreciative that we had that too.
Absolutely. She was.
What about you, Dion? You were in private practice for 70 years, and then you came to Gordon McKernan a couple of years ago. What have you learned, or what's different?
I didn't know your mom was married when I met her, but other than that,
That's to be expected.
yeah, you asked for that. They can edit that out.
Yeah. So what have you
What
learned
if-
since coming to GMI?
Yeah. What's different from private practice to now? What have you learned?
At Gordon, you work. It's hard to explain for somebody to understand it, but cases are, I don't know, worked differently or done differently. They're just and maybe more important is the better question. Used to when you're in private practice, you do a myriad of cases, some domestic, some criminal, some this, some that. But at Gordon's, you only do injury cases only. So you learn about doctors, you learn about procedures, you learn about how to best help clients, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of times, I would have thought in my prior life that, I can help this person that had this catastrophic injury. But in reality, I probably couldn't have helped them as good as somebody that worked at this firm or some of the other firms. I'm not just saying we're very good, probably the best. But the way you learn and the things you do to help clients, other people don't know. I mean, when you handle 1 or 2 cases a month, our firm handles hundreds. We know the ins and outs of all these different things that we help people with. And I wouldn't have known that if I hadn't been here. I wouldn't have learned that, the procedures that we do, the things that we do to help clients. And we get the most for our clients. And generally 100% of the time. And why is that? Because that's all we do. We're blessed to be able to do that, by the way. It's very difficult to be an attorney and not do other stuff to make ends meet. But here, that's all we do. And Gordon's figured out a way to do that, and it's unbelievable. And so, we can do it better. But we just do. I mean, you could hear all the people saying, you've heard it, Ryan. You've
We're
heard
perfecting
John,
the craft.
You've heard it too in Shreveport, I'm sure. Well, this firm. Let me tell you, the guy that does it all over the state does it better than other people in the state. He does. I'm sorry, he does.
Well, when you've got 14 or 15 offices and 65 attorneys
And resources.
that have been doing this for
Right.
some of these guys
And
25,
resources.
30 years, that's and nobody who else in the state meets once a week. We do our Tuesday meetings where we meet
Yep.
and we can discuss things across the board. I mean, you just don't have that in any other firm.
And
that's-
look, we meet daily. We talk about every morning. We talk about cases. Hey, what do you think about this? What about this? Or what about this? Or do you think we can do this? Blah blah blah. And when you talk to other people in other offices, you talk to some people in Baton Rouge. You talk to people in
Yep.
Lafayette. I talk to some people.
You can't talk about those
off
people,
the street.
but, yeah.
Right? I can't talk about those people.
What about you, John? Interesting question.
Yeah.
You came from a firm. What have you learned or done differently from over here that we do or y'all didn't do, or is it kind of the same? Or?
It's a little different. I think the biggest thing, and I touched on this earlier, is just the collective knowledge of the firm. There's people here that have seen so much throughout the span of their legal career and at just various points that there's all this expertise to tap into. Kind of like what Dion was saying about talking about cases. I think I've called all y'all at one point, and asked, hey, what do you think about this? How do you think I should handle this situation? And I think that's what we have here. There's so many people. I can send an email out, and it's going to go to 60 plus attorneys inbox, and they can reply back if they've had that experience, and they can share what worked, what didn't work, what potential outcomes would be. And so I think just having that whole database and expertise to rely upon, I think really separates this firm.
Do you ever get to visit? So Ryan and Dion and I are all in office, and we'll, have coffee and visit about 1 or 2 cases. Hey, what do you think? How would you do this? What do you think? You got some guys over in the Shreveport office with you. You can introduce them if you want. They're not here today. I think they're out of town or under the weather. But do you guys ever visit over there and talk about y'all's cases?
Oh yeah, same kind of deal. It's like a revolving door. I might be going to Coburn's office. Sonny might come into my office. Maybe me and Sonny both going to Coburn's office. So yeah, back and forth.
Coburn's got a big office with a couch in it and a
He
basketball
does.
goal, and
He's
got it.
usually the go-to for that.
Awesome. What we
Thank
got
you.
next, Rhino?
Well, let's talk about let's switch gears and go a little personal. Let's talk about some personal interest. hobbies, fun traditions that we may have that maybe the folks that are watching and listening don't know about us.
Dion, will age before beauty?
In my case, both were 4. So.
What are your hobbies?
Yeah.
Well, right now it's building a house. I've been wiring a house for the last 2 days.
You're going to get
How's
pretty
that
good
going?
at that.
It's going great.
Dion and his wife are building their forever home right now.
Oh,
So he's I don't
And
know,
our guest house.
10 years from retiring. Yeah. And so we've been pretty involved in the like guest house / back patio, fireplace. We need a place to sleep.
Right.
It's on Lake Darbon. It's a beautiful lake over in northeast Louisiana.
We got them a place to sleep. There's going to be a nice pier for them.
I'm so thankful for your wife. If it
Stay
wasn't
on.
for her, we wouldn't have had that.
No.
But she immediately made sure we had a place.
She's taking care of us.
when's this house gonna be
And
done?
she
They're
cooks
empty
for 'em.
nesters now. So like how many kids y'all have together collectively?
5.
And they're all either lawyers or doctors. I mean, done really well and moved on. But so now
No. They're
dentists.
expensive.
They're
They're
still
expensive.
expensive.
Yeah.
When does
they're
that
all-
stop?
And it's spring break. It's spring break, and I'm paying for spring break. How do you get spring?
How old
Lawyers, doctors. When do y'all start paying for shit stuff?
is Beep.
Yeah.
Beep. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll edit that out.
And they're like, "Where's all the rooms at?" We don't have rooms, kids.
Yeah, we specifically built this
We specifically
without
were
rooms.
Mark and
without
Ryan.
your room.
Mark and Ryan are sleeping on the pull-out couch on the back patio. So
At least
But
we
I'll
asked.
say this: the back patio, John, is pimped out.
Oh yeah.
It's got the big screen TV, fireplace, bar. It's got it all.
that was his deal, though. His wife, Marcy, bless her soul. I mean, I don't know how she deals with him every day, but
She's blessed to have me.
yeah. So she got to design the entire house, but she let Dion have like his what'd you call it?
Mancave type.
You're
Yeah, like
the
a big
porch.
storage building and the back porch. Like
Yeah.
he got to design those
Okay.
2 areas.
Yeah, and it was our garage was like 2-car garage. So when the plans got done, it was a 4-car garage,
Got it.
about 2,500 square feet.
The garage. You got to have a
The
place for your
garage.
tractor and your side by side
Boat.
car.
Uh-huh.
Exactly, and so we got that built.
So his hobby right now, he's building a house. He likes to hunt too. What about you?
We were talking about earlier. Just picked up tennis.
Really?
Ever
Oh.
play tennis?
I've tried. That's about the only sport that I can't really play that well. My dad's very good, but I'm not good at all at it. I'm usually gonna hit the tennis ball over the court a little bit.
I like tennis. Tennis is
Uh-huh.
fun. I never played it competitively, but getting out there and playing.
Yeah.
When my wife and I first got married, we tried to pick it up, and she made it. She played twice.
She put it back down.
She played twice, and she was like, "I'm getting worse." I was like, "We just
Yeah.
got to get you some,
Yeah.
just hit the ball over the net,
It's humbling. You have 75-year-old women out there making me run across the court unsuccessfully, chasing balls, and I'm like, what is going on?
well, John,
here?
pickleball's the big deal now. Are you playing that at all?
I haven't tried pickleball.
It's like condensed down tennis,
Oh,
right?
yeah, I
like
was
somewhere
like
between ping
another
pong
20
and tennis.
years
Yeah.
for me, maybe.
Yeah,
That's
I got
fun.
But like,
It's fun. It's a little simpler, but it's gotten big.
I
Got
grew
real
up
big.
with a young lady. Well, she's not a young lady now; she's a woman. But her name was Hannah Robinson at the time, and she ended up going to LSU and playing tennis. But she played,
Oh, yeah?
from the time she was in like junior high, she was ranked nationally. And I watched her hit a couple of tennis balls one time, and I was like, "There's no way I could hit that back." I mean,
There's no
it's
chance.
she was legit. She's a lawyer now somewhere. Hannah, if you hear this, hope you're doing well. What about you, Rhino?
Hobbies, favorite things, interests. So obviously, I've got 3 small children, so we're constantly moving, constantly going. Whether it be at the baseball field or the football field, dance recitals, dance competitions in another state. But one of the, I guess, personal favorite things that I get to do with them is hunting and fishing. So us going in the woods, taking my boys hunting, that's probably just a joy that I can't really explain. If I never get to shoot an animal again, I'll be okay with it, because probably one of them will be doing it and I'm watching them doing it. So
they have a pretty good shot or what?
they are, man, surprisingly. So I think it's, kids have better eyes than we do as we get older. And man, they can narrow it in. And so Titan's an excellent shot. My oldest son, he's an excellent shot. He's shot some animals really well and just dropped them from
Hey,
a
we
couple
all
hundred
3
yards,
went
so.
hunting this year.
I was just about to ask if Ryan was going to mention that.
Well, we can talk about it. I mean, I think it was a great time. We were hunting together, all 3 of us. It was
Dion let Ryan and I bring our 2 youngest sons. So it's me and Ryan and Titan. No, it was
Luke and Odin.
Luke,
Luke.
Odin and Luke, who are 4 and 5 years old. So we're loading up the side by side and we're putting the corn, and we turn around and Dion has a cigar in Luke and Odin's hands. And they're taking a picture holding him up, and then
Yeah, we're loading
it,
up.
and
We
then
had
he
no idea.
texts it to our wife, and both of our wives are like, "What are y'all doing?" I'm like,
It's hunting with Uncle Dion.
"Uncle Dion's handle,
with Uncle
don't
Dion.
worry."
I thought you were about to tell our story of us 3 hunting together without the kids. I'm better with the children's story.
Oh, that's where I'm on top of the hill. They're in a ground blind at the bottom of the hill, and I'm on top of the hill watching, smoking a cigar, by the way. And I'm watching them, and smoke's coming out of the blind. I see a deer come out about 15 yards in front of them. I'm like, it's going to be interesting.
We
That
got
was
it.
fun.
We
You
got
did
it.
get
We
it.
got it.
They got the deer.
It took a couple shots.
Yeah.
The deer was so close from like us to like right here, and so when you put we were shooting a crossbow. When you got the scope on the deer, like he took up the whole scope, right? Even if you like screwed it out. So we actually shot a deer.
Oh, the first deer. Yeah.
We shot one.
Yeah.
The one that you brought the bear in with your honey bun.
Yes. So we're sitting on a ground blind. For those that don't know what a ground blind is, we're on the ground, and it's just like a tent.
Tent. Yeah,
Over
camouflage
us.
tent.
And so Ryan and I get in here, and we've been there about 5 or 10 minutes, and Dion goes back up the hill, and he's in a big box stand looking down, right? And he goes, "Hey, guys, there's a big bear about 50 feet to y'all's east." And I'm like, "I'm eating a honey bun."
And he seemed to
And so I'm like, "Can you let us know if it starts coming closer? Because we got to make some moves here, And look, I'm not as fast as I once was, but if a bear comes, I just got to be faster than both of them,
Yeah.
right? And so
That's right.
I'm definitely running in Dion's direction because I know I can catch him and get out of there.
And then he shot a deer.
So we shot a deer. We pick up the arrow. We go back over to another spot so Ryan can shoot a deer, and the deer gets like right up on us, and it's at a weird angle, and he shoots. And the arrow, I don't even know where the arrow went.
I don't either. We found it, but
No, we found the second one.
Oh, that's
we
right.
lost
did.
one. It went into
Yeah.
the tree. So we
Yeah.
used the arrow that we had already shot
Killed
the
one.
other deer with and reloaded
Loaded
it.
that up.
Put
Got
him
'em.
down.
Yeah, they got 2.
We did. Good times.
No, great.
I had some of
time.
that sausage the other day. It was delicious.
Great sausage.
Delicious.
I'm with you though, man. The hunting with the kids.
Oh, the kids.
John, you got kids yet?
No kids.
Okay.
You want some?
No, thank you.
Dion's
Do you
got
want to
plenty.
babysit for a while? Look, they're
You
a
may not
blessing,
ever have
man.
kids then.
Yeah, I'm with Ryan. Taking my son hunting for the first time and watching him enjoy it, and
That's memorable, man.
Yeah,
It's
game
memories
changer.
that I'll remember forever, and I know they will too.
Yeah, and plus I have pictures with them with cigars. No drinks yet.
Mhm.
I didn't give them beer.
I appreciate that.
yeah.
Just cigars.
You can
We'll
hold
start
off.
them off. We'll start them off on the slow
Yeah,
track.
you know.
Do you hunt, John?
Not well.
Not
Then-
well.
yeah.
Neither do we.
Neither do we. No.
Dion's like, I'm surprised y'all shot anything. Y'all are smoking cigars, and I can hear y'all talking from up here. I'm like, hey,
Dude,
man.
I'm on the. I look down there and there's smoke waffling out of this tent, and there's deer walking toward them. I'm like,
They loved the
what-
smell. That's what it
the hell's
was. They
going
loved the
on here?
smell. It was a sweet cigar.
What else you got? So tennis, competitive. Who are you playing against? Like in a league?
We got a tournament this weekend. It's actually
Oh.
me and Sonny Lopez.
Little doubles team?
Yeah.
There
Okay.
you go.
So
yeah.
We'll have to get you an NIL deal.
Uh-huh.
GMIA tennis team right there.
I think we're gonna take home the ship if Sonny can hold his own, which is kind of questionable.
how's
but-
his rotator cuff going? Didn't he just have like rotator cuff surgery?
He did. He actually has a pretty good serve.
Okay.
Well, he's just
Considering-
going to play with the other arm. That's
Yeah.
all.
Put him on the other side.
I forget which arm. Yeah, they had the surgery on, but his serve's pretty good. So
There you go. Well,
yeah.
good luck on that. You have to keep us posted.
We'll have to come over and watch.
Yeah. Well, look, Dion, I want to know something. You obviously have been an attorney for a very, very long time. And, if you could have another career that wasn't, if you weren't an attorney, what would it be?
Ooh, it's a good one.
What would it be?
Remember, good behavior.
Now,
Even
not
when he's
just any
watching.
career, a dream career. Like if you could have chosen anything besides being the personal injury attorney guru that you are now, what would
Fishing
you-
guide.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
You could do that
Now,
every
is
day.
this going to be freshwater? We offshore guide? What are we doing?
Be
we're not-
Litify works on
We're on the
both.
yacht in Costa Rica.
Oh, yeah, dream career.
I love it down there.
We know you do.
What's the
Quiet down.
what's the best fish that you like to go down there and catch? What's your favorite? Big old tuna,
Sailfish and blue
sailfish.
marlin.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
Sailfish and blue marlins. Nothing like it. It's fun.
I've never caught a marlin.
No, I haven't either.
We hooked one. that big son of a bitch come across the back of the boat. He was 600 pounds. Well, when it's a fish, you can say it.
That's right. When it's a 600-pound fish.
And this 600-pound fish that comes across the back of the boat, you're like, wow.
So did you get it into the boat?
No, we fought him for a little while. He jumped a couple. It was amazing. Beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. Now, we didn't need to catch it. I mean, we weren't going to eat something that big anyway.
You got pictures?
I got pictures of sailfish. All the sailfish we
need
caught.
We need to see those. We need
beside the boat.
When this airs, I want a picture of that, like coming across as we're talking about your fishing.
Oh, I got it.
I think we can do that.
So if you were a charter fishing captain, what would the name of your boat be?
Misbehaving.
Misbehaving. Did you hear that, Emily? That's a good one.
That's a good name.
I like that.
Like
That's
MISS
Yeah.
space. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. I like that.
I hadn't thought about it. I think I could, if I left, cash out everything and leave, nobody could find me for a few years.
That's a good boat name, man.
Yeah. I like that.
What about you, Ryan?
Dream career. I would probably, this is gonna, some of you would understand, but if it was gonna be a dream career, anything that I could do and pick out to do, I would probably be playing basketball in the NBA, right?
Uh-huh.
Like that's
I'm not
that's
surprised.
the dream
Look
career.
at your shoes.
I mean, look, that's the kicks, man. Got the Jordans on.
No,
Shout out to
those
Gordon.
are Air Gordon ones.
Air Gordon ones for sure. But yeah, playing basketball in the NBA. So I grew up, playing basketball, loved playing basketball. Played all sports, but basketball was just something that I developed a huge passion for, and played it pretty well, I think. And so if I could do anything dream career-wise, I'd be playing in the NBA. And if we were really getting specific, if there was a way to like turn back time and maybe play for like the 90s Bulls, with Jordan, that would just be, the dream career.
What
If
position are we
just
talking about? Like point guard? What do you...
I was a shooting guard. I
Okay.
wouldn't mind running the point, but I was more of a shooting guard. So I would say, shooting guard. So me and MJ would have to kind of battle it out. But since it's my dream career, I would say that I'd get to play half the time.
That walkout song, do you remember that? When they played that walkout song and the Bulls and the lights were getting dark? Oh, man, that still gets me pumped up. If I listen to that before work, I'm like, I'm about to crush this case.
We're doing great things today.
But instead of like 6'6", it's like, 5'9".
I like it. I like it.
Man,
All
dream
right.
career. What about you, John?
Dream career. I think if I could be anything, I think I'd like to be a movie critic.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love
Movie critic. Okay.
Yeah, love movies. I love to write, and I think just the meshing of those two would give me a lot of joy. I remember as a kid, I'm probably dating myself now. We had the TV guide, tells you what was going to be on TV.
Everything. In the little paper one?
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
with you, with crossword puzzles and stuff in the back.
Exactly.
You don't know about that.
Oh,
You
no,
and
I
are
got
close
you.
to the same
I got
age.
I would go through there and like find all the movies, and I remember they would like, I don't know what metric or what rating system this was, but there'd be like stars next to like, and some of them would be pretty bad, like 1 star. Others would be like 4. I remember I like kept this journal of like all the movies in there and like the stars, and something about that just having respect for critics or just enjoying what movies, I guess what people overall think about them. I don't know, always has kind of resonated with me. So I think
How
I
about
could do that.
top 3 favorite movies then?
Ooh,
From a movie guy.
That's a tough one.
Oh, you're putting me on the spot here.
Top 3 favorite movies.
I watched A Few Good Men this weekend.
Few Good Men's a
That's
good
a-
movie.
That's a good movie.
Yeah.
You can't handle the truth.
Uh-huh. You might have to come back to me on this.
Let's do that. Mark,
Yeah,
while John is thinking about his top
it
3
better
movies
be
from
3
the movie
good
critic of the
movies
years.
too, okay?
Oh, yeah, he's getting some time. Let's hear your dream career. If you wasn't the balling personal injury attorney that you are, what would be your dream career?
Well, you took pro sports. I mean, I think we all at some point dreamed about doing that.
Sure.
I think I would have one of two. So I'm gonna ride the fence here. I always have liked the medical field, like surgeries. So orthopedic surgeon or I've always been intrigued and asked a lot of questions, and so doctor route would have been, I think, something that looking back I'm like, oh man, I wish I'd have known more about this early on. Or like an engineer of sorts, like the guys that build the skyscrapers and the really tall buildings and the math behind all that and how they build those buildings, and I always thought that was really cool.
You can go help Dion finish his house.
Yeah. No, I was on. It was October of, I guess either '99. I was on top of the World Trade Center, and I was on a trip with OC at my high school. We went on an art club trip, and you could stand on the top of the building, and you could close one eye, and put your finger on the antenna on the other building, and you could watch the antenna sway side to side. So I'm sitting there on the top of this 100-story building, and I'm like, if that building's swaying, my building's swaying. I thought that was really cool.
Engineering at its finest.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
that's
Crazy.
well beyond what we know.
Yep.
I could even fathom. All right, John.
3
You're up,
movies.
dude. You're the movie critic, and now I need to know the top 3 movies. Your top 3. Let's put it that way. You don't even have
to think about it more. I can name a couple I saw recently that I liked.
Okay,
that?
shoot for it.
So I saw Nora not too long ago.
Okay.
Won Best Picture this past year. Great film. Love the acting. Very original storyline. I saw Challengers not too long ago. Have y'all seen that?
What is that about?
Tennis.
Okay.
there you go.
This is what got you going?
Jump started. I was
It
like,
sparked the career.
All right.
it was so cool, and I was like, I'm gonna be like these people on Challengers. Like I'm gonna be. This is
John,
gonna
what
be
about
me.
old movies? I mean, like, like 60s movies, 70s.
Oh,
I really love. I've always loved Vertigo, Alfred Hitchcock, which I think was maybe late 50s or around that time. I don't know if y'all ever seen that. Kind of I guess horror, but kind of like a love story. That is probably one of my favorite movies from what I recall. Yeah.
My wife and I watched Casablanca the other day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she had never watched a black and white movie.
With Humphrey Bogart.
Yeah, good movie. What about 8 Seconds? You fan of that movie?
I don't know if I've seen 8 Seconds.
You've never seen 8 Seconds? It still makes me cry. Every time I watch 8 Seconds, I get upset.
Who's in that?
It's about the
I'm
bull
interested.
rider. Lane Frost is like
oh yeah.
he was a professional bull rider, a young
Okay.
guy, and got
Yeah.
hit by one of the bulls. And obviously, I'm not going to ruin the movie, but it's a good movie. It's a good movie.
Well, it looks like they might be trying to kick us out or winding us down on our garage studios. I don't know. I think we're good.
You ain't got to go home, but you got to get up out of here.
Yeah, we do. So, Dion, we need some closing words from you. Give us a food for thought or what you feel.
Food for thought. It's been interesting to be in here at the garage, Gordon's garage thing. It's
Garage studios.
the
Yeah.
garage studio
What's your closing piece? We all get to leave with one statement.
with one statement. What is my closing piece? Be yourself, and God will bless you.
Ryan?
Do your best, and God will handle the rest.
I think I got to just go with get Gordon, get it done.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
That a boy.
In a fight, call Mark White.
I like it. All right. Appreciate you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Enjoyed it.
All right.
Appreciate it.